Okay, uhshammaseey. What the fuck is up, dudes? Okay, so we're talking about potential um, manipulation of the data I can access and kind of like largely the digital information around me. And it's gone to a point where it's like almost like internal manipulation. And so that can either be something being brought upon me as a challenge or brought upon me as I'm just thinking right off the rip, right off the top right now, maybe is like some kind of assistance, or maybe this is kind of a third idea, real quick, just aside. Maybe it's just a happenstance of a strange traveling through like a four-dimensional coordinate plane, um, which is, you know, your three-dimensional coordinates plus your time coordinate, and maybe going through those four dimensions is like stuff's like just, you know, history's kind of different over in one little corner just by a little bit, and history's still a little different over here. Oh, so it's like that one, just like natural confusion of traveling through four-dimensional coordinates, or it's like a manipulation of the information in a way that is scientifically brought on and like um, curated, if you will, for a certain end, and that end could be helpful or it could be harmful. Or so it's the manipulation side, the natural side, or it could be also again on the natural side of like an internal misunderstanding of like being in a coma or something, or like being in like a drug and like a drug state, or like an intoxicated or inebriated state that's like confusing for me to navigate, because it's like, you know, maybe I'm like going around and certain like symbols are like mixed up, or like my vision is inaccurate. There was an idea like either I'm blind, or like maybe maybe my hearing's gone, and like my hearing maybe was like a big part of my perception before, like my vision before, and maybe my hearing's gone and now I'm like more imagining hearing stuff. But then also with that third one of being in a like coma, or like a drug induced state, maybe maybe that's even just more alluding to a fact of being less human and like natural, and being more, you know, digital and more technological and more robotic, more machine like, because like maybe like there's like barcodes that have been going on, and then if you disrupt the barcodes in a certain fashion, that can like have a domino cascading effect of like a kind of a different reality that's like not necessarily inaccurate, but it's just as real as the one before. But the thing is, it's it's uh, it's less comfortable, because now there's the awareness that it's not a natural reality, and it's more of a coded reality. There definitely seems to be a code. That's aside. There's another aside I wanted to touch on real quick. Oh, the aside. What was it? I forgot where I was going with that. There was another aside, but I wanted to touch more on the code as well. Definitely seems to be a code of all kinds of different codes. There's like kind of a code of like everything having sentience. There's a code I was just talking about earlier where like maybe you're going through like time relativity and size relativity, like pathways that are like traversed based on like your gradient bit, you know what I mean? So it's like if you have 10 random variables, you can go through more pathways, because there's more pathways that have lower variable caps. And then if you had, say you had 50 random variables, you can't go through maybe as many pathways, because say half those pathways have a 25 variable cap. And so like say someone who has a bunch of tattoos and they wanted to travel time, and like travel time in like an abstract way, they would have a tough time, or have a more limited time, or just more work involved time traveling through those abstract pathways, because how are you going to preserve a super intricate tattoo, and like it's, especially if they're all over your body and your body's already an intricate surface, like how are you going to like keep relaying that intricate tattoo through like these abstract pathways that have different time relativity and different size relativity. So there's that going on, and just I was pairing that with the Mormon faith, where they have the word of wisdom, where you're not supposed to have tattoos, you're not supposed to have body piercings, you're not supposed to, what was the other one? Oh, like language, like using like curse words. They even call them curse words, or I don't know what swearing is. That's aside. I don't want to talk about swearing right now, but curse words, because like imagine you go through like a warped reality where like symbolically things are shifting, and like all of a sudden you find yourself in a reality where the weight of your sound or the weight of your words carries more weight than it did in the one before, and now you're using these words carelessly, but they're having a large effect. So maybe that would like, I was just getting a fusion idea with the word of wisdom and traveling through abstract pathways in time. There was another thing I wanted to flesh out. Oh, the codes of like, I was freaking out the other day of like thinking about how like your information, your DNA, your reproductive, at least for males, your reproductive fluids, if you will. I don't know how to put this properly, but like your sperm could be like, I was like fused, like seeing this connection between like a lot of rap music and like a lot of rap music, like a lot of rap music and like stuff going on with like maybe even COVID, where it was like, wear a mask. And it's like, well, what if wearing a mask is like, this is fusing a bunch of ideas already in my head as I talk about it, but it's like, OGZ says, and she just hit him up, or so we taken his cream, or she just set him up, so we taken his cream. And then there's some other references, but boy, I swear to God, you better switch pronouns. That's like a solid one. Oh shit, these niggas dick rides. That's not exactly getting to the point. The point is like, imagine if there's a way of where your information is like, like being like kind of piggybacked on, and people are like going around, walking around town looking just like you for some reason, and there's either, and then on top of that, there would be people that could see that imitation life going on, and that like even Drake talks about having internet clones, you know what I mean? And so like maybe there's like people that can even see that these people duplicating people's face, or like wearing each other's skins, if you will, and get in the bag. I'm getting that bag no matter what, you know what I mean? I feel like our skin is like a bag. This is all I'm just kind of throwing out some bullet points here, but so it's like maybe like there's people that can see that imitation of faces and stuff, and maybe there's people that can't see it. And again, this is just another bullet point, but Nazis, think about Nazis, like not being able to see, so Nazis. Yeah, so I feel like at times like there's like a whole laundry list of things that have like brought me to like these ideas, not necessarily conclusions, because like the jury's still out on a lot of this stuff, but I just wanted to document that because I was just hearing today that it's like, oh, it's Super Bowl Sunday, and I didn't even know that, because I don't follow football, I don't follow any sports really regularly, never really have, but I definitely have my affinity for soccer or football, whatever you want to call it. I don't know who this is going to be reached by, or like where this might be available for the general public and the universe and the universes outside of this universe to access. But I want this to be accessed by, I want this to be public knowledge, public information. Even with my beautiful face and everything, like, go ahead, watch it. Just please don't try and like sexualize me in this video, so that was pretty much it. Like I was reaching I felt like a pinnacle in the meta symbolic symmetry or parallels or like asymmetric like mirroring that was going on, and like there's like this sonic conversation that's going on, even like this plane passing right now. There's times when that plane passing or like the sound of a plane passing is very well synced up with like literally my inner thought like process. It'll literally come in at a time that I'm like it's like it's uncanny how like sometimes like the sonic conversation is like very, because the sonic conversation, at least per the needle point of one's focus, it is just one line. It's a 4-dimensional line that's just going around. It has no volume, but it's just a line. It's going to this thing, then the next thing here, one word, the next word, and then something else comes into view, and it's kind of ambiguous in the peripheral. And as I've said before, the peripheral steers the focus, so then it's like, as it comes into view, this thing that you were focusing on closes, and then the focus on this opens, and then the next thing comes, and like the nodes of, perceptual focus are just like kind of like, it is like this continuous like conversation. And I just right now, ironically, conversation of stimuli to perception to understanding. That's a conversation right there, or a conversion. And then don't get me started on the words with that ends in shun, right? Anything that ends in shun, are we agreeing on that? Anything that ends in shun is hella weird. Relationships. And one thing, just real quick, as I'll end this video, I was like, he said, AD on Twitter was like, should I pre-record these, pre-record me playing the Harry Potter, there's apparently some new Harry Potter game. He's like, should I pre-record it or should I like stream it live? And then I was just like being very involved in the meta, and like anytime I read a Twitter or a tweet, I try to respond to it, even if it's like not from anyone I really like. Sometimes you get like recommended tweets or like tweets that someone retweeted or something. I'll view it almost like, largely as whoever it's labeled as being represented by. But sometimes it's fun to like think of as just like, imagine if it's like, just for example, imagine if it's all your Twitter feed, imagine if it's just all your relatives. Even if it looks like, oh, Deadmau5 just tweeted at me, it's like, yeah, it's your brother. But he's like tweeting about something subliminal about you or something. But anyways, just like, I try to respond to like basically every tweet I read these days. And literally every tweet I read, not even like, So anyways, you get the point. And so I was gonna respond to him, yeah, you should pre-record. But then it's funny that pre-record and the word record has re as a prefix, which is to do something again. So, anyways. So I guess maybe it gets chorded first. Wow. Yeah, it gets chorded first in the mind. Or maybe it gets strung first in the mind. Strung in action, making a chord, and then it can be re-recorded by being redesigned and stored in like a data storage device, and thus being recorded. Anyway, that's all I got for today. Like literally, like, can I end this with like a shammas? Like, what even the fuck is even going on? Like, right? All right, reaching for the camera as usual. Love you guys.